unknown. know what's muted, but thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
I muted because I saw that Mara was muted, so I didn't know if I was supposed to also be.
Oh no, I just.
I don't know if you stepped away from your device or if you're having technical difficulties, Mara, but you got real quiet.
Is that better?
Much.
Helps when you move the microphone closer to you.
Fair enough. No, this is actually perfect that Takume is hosting a stream, because that's why I try to call him on Messenger. Is I just got this new laptop, mine, and I'm putting it through its paces.
What did you get?
Well, without going above my pay grade, it's a Dell that was one of those higher up, like engineer use type ones. Dell Precision 7510. Is that the music that's making interesting popping noises, or is somebody tapping their desk?
That's kind of what I was wondering too.
Hey, Takame, you want to run a mic check?
Yeah, I don't think it's on my end.
Not me. Well, let's stop. Well, for a second. What the hell did I do? There it is.
Mostly stopped in to say hi to people.
How's that?
I was getting ready to go to bed.
It's a little bit better, Takame.
Well, apparently my mic wasn't plugged in.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
I thought you were just providing a mood by being the quiet, brooding artist.
Yeah, right. When have I ever been quiet except for drunk?
When there's like all of the children in the living room and it's 2:00 in the morning and you're trying to work and not wake them up.
No, you don't know my kids very well. Once they pass the fuck out, you can borderline play rave music in the same room with them and they'll be passed the fuck out for about 2 hours.
Yeah, for about 2 hours. Ooh.
Hey, rave music for 2 hours will wake up most kids. My kids sleep through it.
Oh, I thought you meant your kids would be passed out for a whole 2 hours. Yippee.
Oh. Fuck, how do I do this?
So, how's my audio quality for you guys?
Good. It's good.
Okay.
Seems good to me.
Although I do need to adjust my audio settings.
Yeah, this is literally my first hour of using this.
Check. Yeah. Check. Okay.
Coming through loud and clear now.
I was increasing the volume. Oh, that's hilarious. I did a 5 or 10 minutes of audio with no one hearing a single fucking thing I said. Oh, that's great. It's a late night draw stream with your host, the Silent Man.
And to think, if we hadn't jumped on, you never would have known.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no shit, man. That's fucking ironic. So, side note, Friday's show, I don't know if we're going to be on Hops' channel or my channel. Usually by about this point, he gives me a link for the upcoming show, but I haven't seen one yet. So I don't know what his plans are. I know he's planning on doing his monthly CromCon thing, but I'm not seeing anything on the back end. So I'm not sure what his plans are as far as our show.
Any speculation of it being a result of the current situation?
Well, and that's part of it. There's a lot going on his end, but there's a lot going on my end where, unfortunately, as much as I want to be able to help him out, I can't now. I will have to bring you up to speed in person.
Fair enough.
But let's just sum it up like this. The sheriff department showed up at our doorstep today.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh dear.
Yeah. It was a fun afternoon.
Well, aside from at least you guys, you sound like you're okay, but like...
Oh, yeah. No, we're fine. We were just informed of something that we had no idea was going on. So I have to take care of some property-related matters tomorrow, which, ironically, if you're free, I would love for you to come over and help.
Okay.
We have to basically, long story short, we have to locate where the septic system is.
Oh, joy.
Because there seems to be a leak, and it's leaking into our neighboring property. So, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed it's just one of the fingers that cracked when I'm suspecting, since it's leaching into the neighbors, I really hope that the tank didn't get cracked.
That's what I'm
wondering
worried about.
if it's because of the gazebo when the guy was...
No. Well, that's just it, okay? Before we drop the temple onto the spot where it's at, the ground where we were going to put temple, we checked the ground and checked the soil. There's nothing there, just soil, right? We were told that the septic tank is roughly somewhere near where the trailer is. There's nothing under or near the trailer. We were told that it might be between the trailer and the garage. There's nothing anywhere near the trailer or the garage. And if it's near the trailer or the garage, why are we drinking any of the fucking well water?
Yeah.
Okay, following me here? Apparently the main house is not on a city sewer line. It's on a septic line, and we just found out today. And we have no fucking clue where that septic tank is because there isn't one.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised it's a septic considering the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying. I'm hoping that it's not because of the gazebo, because
I don't think it is.
yeah, you checked the soil, but depending on how far down you went or where you checked versus where the lines were, you could have been shooting blind and not realizing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we have a similar problem at my house where we do know where the septic is. We cannot drive down that side of the house with anything bigger than a lawnmower because it's already a cracked and fragile system.
Yeah.
Apparently, several of the fingers are just the right amount of pressure away from exploding underground into dust. And so
I
that's
don't
why I'm
think
saying hopefully it's just a finger that broke and is leaking, because that's a lot easier to deal with than the tank as a whole.
Yeah, well, and that's the other half of the problem is, and this is where the layer gets really fucking headachy. So the main house is on septic, as we've discovered recently. No one in the main house is maintaining the septic for, at least to my knowledge, the last 6 years. No one who has lived on this property even has a fucking clue where the septic tank would or might be.
Yeah.
So we're stuck with this really rough realization that we have to figure out where the septic tank is, if the septic tank still exists, whether or not it's been ruptured, and how the sewage is leaking onto the neighboring property.
Now, when you say the neighboring property, are you talking about the DOT station or
Yep. The state facility?
Well,
so on one hand,
not bad. That's not as bad as I was expecting, because I didn't know if you were talking about the neighboring resident.
The other guy, yeah, no, and that's kind of where my brain's like, oh fuck me. On one hand, it's good that it's leaking onto the neighboring property, and it's leaking onto, the state facility, which is just a Department of Transportation. But on the other hand, it's that issue of, oh crap, that's a state facility. So it could be a bigger issue.
That's
but
true, but in the short term, at least, the mindset is at least it's not leaking into or onto residential.
Yeah, exactly. And
at least it's not interfering with anyone's current, life.
Yeah, because that could be its own legal issue. So tomorrow I have to go through and find all that crap. I may have to crawl under the main house and find out where exactly any of that could be. I'm going to work on this one tomorrow, because this one is going to take a lot more work. Well, I was going to do a draw stream, but I can't get the angle on this drawing. I've already done that one. I could do this one. This one's not too bad.
I have to check with my people, but as far as I know, there's no reason for me not to be able to come out. The only thing that I know of that's going on tomorrow definitely is my brother-in-law has somebody coming out to look at a mower.
Gotcha.
But at some point this week, and I don't know if that is tomorrow, he's supposed to go in and get looked over as a result of his surgery.
Yeah. You told me about that situation.
Yeah.
Well, I know Old Man is supposed to be here. I'm not sure what's going on with Lila at this point. That's a whole separate issue on its own. But Old Man should be here, and he wants to do a final walkthrough on the property for mowing and whatnot. Although I need
that old man.
Yeah, old man.
Okay.
No. My biological father has passed, so if you hear me refer to old man, I'm referring to Chief Watkins. His nickname is Old Man.
Fair enough.
So there is that. I have no idea what time he will be here, but I know it will be no earlier than noon. It's because he doesn't get up and get going before 10 a.m. to begin with.
Just like me.
Just like all of us. He typically is on Fallout 76 until usually about 2 or 3 in the morning. And then he crashes out. So I don't expect him to be here before noon. So there's that element. That's a big, round, fat ass. And look at this picture. It should be perfect.
I'm gonna drop out audio-wise for a second. I'm
Sure.
sticking in, but everything seems to be working well on this
Yeah.
end. So next step is to see how the Bluetooth handles, because nice enough that Bluetooth is a thing on this device.
No, that's pretty sweet.
So I'm gonna try out my high-end wireless headphones that has a mic and see how that works.
Nice. Alright. So why are you still awake?
Well, I was
Mara.
getting ready to go to bed, but I found a video I thought you would find hilarious, and then.
I saw you send the video.
But I was very curious of why you randomly told me to go to bed.
Because you were up at 2 in the morning and you usually have to be at work at 8.
Yeah, I do.
So I was like, why the fuck are you awake? Go to
I
bed.
didn't figure out how you knew I was up.
So there's this wonderful thing that I've learned how to do on Facebook especially, but a lot of social medias have little symbols on them that if you pay attention to them carefully, you can tell when someone's live. And most people aren't aware they exist, which is hilarious. It creeps people out because they think I'm hacking their account.
No.
And it's
I
just
didn't think that. I just was very confused. I know there's a little green dot that says,
Yep.
"Oh, they're live" or whatever.
Yeah.
They're being active right now, but
yeah.
my phone is always active. So, but I don't know if that's actually a spot that shows up when you're actually doing stuff, or
Yeah, yeah. And then the other thing that happens is cell phones are notorious for this. If someone looks at the image, the cell phone will ripple slightly. Like if you send a text message to somebody, even though they haven't read it, they can look at the little like icon. If I can get my phone to open. Here, I'll use Luke for an example. No, actually, that would be a bad idea. Let's not use Luke. I'm trying to think of who I can use as a reference. Yeah, no, never mind. So, anyhow, I'm like going down my list of people I can use as a reference, going, nope, that wouldn't be good. Nope, that wouldn't be good. Nope, fuck that noise. So, let's get rid of that. So, the phone will do a ripple effect when someone's looked at the screen. Okay? And if you pay attention to the phone, you can catch it. It will kind of do a, like that, just real quick little kind of shiver. And it's telling you that the person has looked at it without telling you the person has looked at it. It's something a lot of apps do, especially more higher end social media apps. That way you can tell when someone's looked at your stuff.
Mm.
That's how I'm able to tell when someone's looked at something. And if you've ever noticed when I'm chatting, I'll go, "Oh, you've looked at that, right?" And you're just like, "How did you know?" Because I watched the fucking thing ripple in front of me, and I know when you've looked at something. Yeah, that's why a lot of people are like, "You're psychic, aren't you?" Sure, let's go with that. I'm psychic.
No, you just pay attention.
I just pay attention to the technology because I've worked with it long enough to know little nuances that most people overlook. I love drawing rope initially on a person because it looks like anal beads.
Yeah, fair enough.
You probably can't really see it because of how small it is. But it's basically, yeah, which I think is funny. So yeah. Yeah, he's still playing with his Bluetooth. Although I'm not going to be up too much. Yep.
Hello.
How's my quality?
Good.
Sweet.
Sounding pretty clean. I just realized, I guess you can kind of see what I'm drawing, just not super well. Oh yeah, I gotta put the little ring lock on top. But I probably won't be running too much longer because I'm getting tired as fuck.
Oh, no, I need to be going to bed as well because I gotta have a Zoom meeting at 9.
Oh boy.
Yay. At least I don't have to go anywhere for it.
Right?
Sounds like I shouldn't be on much longer either, since apparently I've got shit to do tomorrow.
No. You don't have to come over and help me sort this fucking headache out.
Oh,
But I would
please. You helped me
appreciate it.
sort out a headache that I just was underprepared to be able to deal with.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but let's go with that.
Well, let's put it this way. You saved me a bare minimum of $10 and made a better design than I was expecting.
Oh, the t-shirt. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I just, hey, I know how to do this shit. It's one of those things. I know how to do professional media production, which is why I have a media production company. But I rarely get hired to do it. It's just the kind of catch-22 of my life.
So I do realize what you're drawing, but just what you have so far, I'd like to point out it looks like one of the aliens from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, kind of. I can see that.
Welcome, travelers, to our planet.
Right. What I'm drawing is actually for Miss Kelly, who is one of my close friends. She needed some pieces done for one of her campaigns. She's opening up a fetish-themed clinic up in Fort Wayne to help people with trauma using BDSM and fetish-related things to sort trauma. And ironically, my original mistress that taught me a lot of stuff in the BDSM world, Midori, is one of the first professional dominatrixes out there to actually master and get a PhD in the entire concept of using BDSM as a way to help people overcome trauma, which I find incredibly ironic. So because she went and actually got certified and did all the training for it, I was like, hey, you could use some BDSM art. And I guess there's really not a lot of artists in the community that do this. So I was like, hey, why don't I do some art for you? And here we are. I hate drawing chains. They're a pain in the ass to draw. So I'm drawing for her
Have
some
you
pieces.
have you tried using the S method for chains?
I have, but they don't look authentic, which is part of the problem. At least the way I draw them, they don't tend to come out looking right. And I'm very OCD about the way my stuff looks.
I'll have to ask you to show me an example and see if I can't hash one out, because
Yeah.
if you do an overlapping 6-bar S pattern,
Yeah.
I found that looks palatable.
Yeah. There's a stylization to my technique where that style does not work well with my technique. Because this, you don't really see my technique here. This is a color test. Basically, I do a sketch first, and then with the sketch, I go in and do a color test so I can figure out where my colors are going to be. And then I will go and transfer that to the larger print. And on the larger print, I'll actually do the shading. Let me see if I have any of my shading on me. So you can get an idea of what my shading looks like. And here we go. Actually, here's a couple of my pieces. So this is from...
That looks pretty shady.
Funny. So the shading technique I use is I do a hash pattern, and then I take a Q-tip and I smear the hash. And it creates a nice natural gradient in the shading that looks actually more realistic. A lot of people use different hashing techniques, but very few people do a smudge technique. Because smudging takes a lot of, you have to kind of go over it and over and over it, and you're almost practically painting with the ink. And then from there, I go over it with white ink to clean it up.
Have you considered getting the graphite powder?
I have. I hate graphite powder. That's a lone wolf and cub.
That looks amazing.
Pretty good.
What's your beef with graphite powder?
It's messy. It's really fucking messy.
Well, what are you doing that's wrong?
It's a good question, but it's just one of those, I don't like it because it's just super messy and it gets everywhere.
Well,
And I hate wearing the gloves. Huh?
I'm going to go to bed, so I'll talk to you
All right.
later.
Good night.
Bye.
I'll have to introduce you to my powder handling technique. So I have a Crokinole board, and it comes with a wax-based powder. You're supposed to sprinkle it on the board or into the ditch to be able to apply it to the pucks. But what I instead did was one of my friends gave me a banana-shaped butter dish, and it's actually got just enough of the way it's designed to be able to pour from the end. And so I put the powder in that
Yeah.
to have more control over making sure the powder doesn't get everywhere. And then when I'm done, I could just pour the powder out of the end of the banana back into the dish. So as long as you can find something that has an edge, like if you get like a jewelry box where it's square and not very deep, but has, that edge, put the graphite powder in there, and then you can dip your Q-tip in it.
Not a bad idea. Sorry, I'm playing with the music while we talk.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to find the song for Fallout Las Vegas. It might be good background music.
Yeah. Speaking of background music and Fallout Las Vegas, it currently does not apply because we're where we're at.
Yeah.
But if we ever do get out of the damn vault and into the waste,
Right.
I would like to put in a request for just an excessive amount of damn it, why am I drawing a blank? Of course I am. Marty Robbins. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
That music, I believe, is old enough to qualify as public domain, and I'm just, for several reasons, a huge fan of Marty Robbins.
That's the problem. Even public domain is not necessarily like. There's people that have been flagged for playing old Roaring Twenties music. Like, the fucking algorithm is so anal retentive that unless it's unlicensed media, it's like you have to have completely unlicensed media to be able to use any of it, and it gets really anal retentive.
Yeah.
And even if you have licensed media, as we have found out with TFOS, it still sits there and fucking jumps your shit. You know. I mean, I even, at one point, in one of my earlier live streams last year, was playing Porn on Beta, which is a rant radio fucking thing. And YouTube flagged it. And I'm just like, fuck you. This is, like, not licensed media. Oh, well, there's a YouTube video of it. So, therefore, fuck you, YouTube. You know.
Well, that's okay. Have you heard about the bullshit Herman Lee has to deal with on a nearly daily basis?
Uh-uh.
Well, first of all, do you know who Herman Lee is?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. He has a Twitch channel as well as a YouTube channel. And he gave up, as far as I know, on his YouTube channel. He still tries to keep his Twitch running, but he constantly gets struck and flagged and taken down for playing his own fucking music.
Yeah. It just strikes you for stupid shit.
The worst part is, like, it's not like he's, playing a, recording of his music where it's like, this is, what I was feeling as I was writing this song, play. No, it's he pulls out his guitar and starts playing the music, and he gets struck.
Yeah. The fucking AI is ridiculous.
The AI is retarded.
Yeah. I can't stand the way AI has dominated so much of the media industry these days.
I'm pretty sure the only reason my video hasn't gotten struck yet is because I'm too small of a channel and I'm not like present enough for AI to even notice me, because I've got exactly one channel or one video on my YouTube channel that I made myself. I'm quite proud of. It is from Bloodlines. It is the entire playthrough of the sisters.
Gotcha.
Up to and including like showing the right choices to make sure that neither Therese nor Jeanette kills the other.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to edit out the music instead of like just muting it.
Yeah.
So I took a risk, and the only thing I could figure to do was anytime I went into the nightclub, I got in and out as fast as possible.
Yeah. It's the best you can do. Frankly, it's, it's bullshit though, because they're striking you and it actually violates federal fair use clause.
Yeah.
And they're just so fucking paranoid that they're just like, no, we can't allow shit. And it's like, no, you dumbass. Fair use allows for me to fucking listen to this music.
Yeah.
I'm not performing the music. I'm not using it as part of a live performance. Therefore, I have every legal right to use this and play it as, part of my live show, so long as I do certain things. And it's gotten so retarded these days. Welcome to social programming.
Well, in fairness, it's been pretty bad for a while.
It really has been.
Anytime somebody comes out with a really good parody product, like Team 4-Star or Something Witty Entertainment, they put the video up for as long as it'll stay up until it inevitably gets struck and removed. And then they have to fight it, which takes a couple of weeks, and then they can finally put it back up.
Yeah, that's about how it is anymore. And it's any wonder why so many people are going to Rumble.
Yeah.
Because it's just getting stupid. These major social media sources are just getting really fucking stupid about things. And they're going to end up killing their market before too long.
Yeah.
That finally happened. Hey, cool.
Oh, hey, on an unrelated note, because I'm toking on my vaping device, because I can't smoke in my room, but I can vape in my room, or at least until they find out that I'm doing this. They don't know yet. But I've had an idea for a device potential for visual effects for shows, like concerts and raves and stuff.
Yeah.
See if I can get that. But the goal of the device is to have a bladder to obtain and retain all of the smoke coming out of a smoke machine and allow pressure to build up to go, once enough pressure builds up, it'll rupture, but it's designed to be able to rupture through predetermined cuts held together with magnets to where whenever enough pressure builds up, it'll go off on a random spot. So if, for example, it's, the shape of a football and you poke a hole every, half an inch apart as it pressure builds up until it, builds and releases. It'll hopefully randomize where the smoke's going to come from. And I think that would just be kind of cool because it could go anywhere from 0 to, 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Randomly, where's the smoke going to come out from?
Yeah.
It's actually an idea that I've had for a good long while, but I never really bothered to actually contemplate it. And then I was watching a video, and I don't remember what it was, but it was something involving pressure. Oh, that's right. Pressure forming spherical metal.
Yeah.
Because what they do is they take 2 sheets of metal, weld all around the seam, and have a channel to allow stuff to flow in.
Yeah.
And then they just pressurize it with water to where it bulges and forms into a sphere.
Interesting.
And that got me thinking about doing something like that, but with more like a rubber bladder to where it has elasticity and some neodymium magnets to be able to reform the seal once pressure releases enough to go back.
Yeah. I can see that working.
It's just a matter of figuring out the logistics and how to create it and tie it into a system like a smoke machine where those aren't designed for high pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I know that there are high pressure systems out there because, watch Rammstein live footage and
Right.
they have, fire and smoke jets.
Yeah. And there are ways of doing that through special effects.
Yeah. I've got a couple of different special effects ideas. So I also did some research in the topic of pyrotechnics, specifically fireworks, and apparently the pro pyrotechnics, there is an existing system that it's inexpensive in the short term, but over the course of time that adds up.
Yeah.
Apparently they have a wireless essentially detonator, and the thing that ignites the fuses for the fireworks is, let's call it, for the sake of comparison to be able to relate, essentially it's a zip tie with a small incendiary device.
Yeah.
And so they push the button, the incendiary device goes off, it's a one and done.
Yeah.
I can't
Some of
fathom
the-
why there's not a reusable device, but I've looked. I have fucking really looked. There's only one thing that even qualifies as a reusable device, and it's essentially a lighter with a clamp that you could have like one.
Yeah.
And it has like a low range to where that wouldn't satisfy for, high yield shows like at the Statue of Liberty fireworks show where
Yeah.
they have the boats and they're like, way far away from where the fireworks are going off.
Mhm.
Like they can only use the zip tie incendiaries because with the existing reusable one, you have to be like no further than 10 feet away. So you would still have to hit the button and then you still have to run.
Yeah.
But I had for the longest time thought, well, what about a guillotine clamp with an electrical conduit running to a filament situated in the center of the guillotine clamp to where you tighten it down on the fuse and you apply electricity and it'll cause the filament to glow and get hot.
Yeah.
But then I saw
Sure.
something that's even better, and if he's not going to capitalize on it, shit, I want to. Colin Furs, I don't know if you've heard
Yeah.
of Colin Furs.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. In one of his videos, he made a couple of devices for, I think it was like Left 4 Dead 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he made real world versions of the, MacGyver weapons in the
Mhm.
game, and one of them was a mortar backpack, and he subbed fireworks for the mortars.
Mhm.
But his solution for an ignition system was a button activated glow plug.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So if you could figure out how to reliably, safely, create a glow plug ignition, then that would be even better, because you can run the line as long as you need it to be, and then you just find like a spring that's just big enough to go over the top of the glow plug,
Yeah.
and then you put the fuse on, inside the spring, put the spring over the top of the glow plug to where it's, holding tension.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle, and then just hit a button.
Wouldn't be too difficult. I mean,
No, I wouldn't think it would be difficult at all. And I'm actually going to see about trying that out this year, because my buddy has a couple of diesel motors, so he's in no short supply of, glow plugs, and he's an electrical engineer.
yeah.
And I usually go out to their place for the 4th of July, and I'm
Yeah.
the designated pyrotechnician, because I've gone through, basically firefighter training.
Yeah.
Because I took it was called Fire Safety Science. It was a high school extracurricular, or not extracurricular, but it wasn't a core requirement,
Yeah.
but it was an extra science credit, and it was actually essentially firefighter training.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I've had a wide list of hazardous material training over the last 30 years. So I totally understand where you're coming from. That's why I
mean-
confuse people with the way I do certain things. They're just like, why are you doing it that way? Because it's been ingrained in me to do it that way.
For me, it's more like, why are you doing it that way? Because I know enough about how to play with fire that I understand the limitations and how to respect the fire and not get burned.
Right?
But yeah, no, I'm gonna see about trying to rig up the glow plug system for the 4th of July this year at my buddy's place, and if that turns out to be a success, then I'm gonna talk to my buddy and see if we can't take it, a step or two further and, rig a timer or something to where, like, you hit the button and it will continue to send the electricity to the glow plug for, call it 5 or 10 seconds, to make sure that the device lights,
Yeah.
but then also have an override kill in case if it lights right away.
I'll tell you one that my uncle taught me which I didn't think was legitimately functional until I did it myself, and I was like, dude, that's fucking badass. You take a standard, average, everyday cigarette, okay? You light the cigarette, and you poke the fuse into the sides of the cigarette wherever you want it. Because the average cigarette has anywhere from a 1 minute to 3 minute burn time.
Huh.
Crazy, huh? Light the
That-
cigarette, stick it in the side, set it down, walk away.
That's pretty genius, and I never would have thought about that, albeit because most modern day cigarettes, and that's where the hiccup or the crux of the matter is for that particular ignition
Yeah.
system. Most modern cigarettes have a chemical imbued into the tobacco to where if it's not given a constant, source of revitalization, people, actively smoking it, it will go out. It will not
wow.
burn down to the quick, like,
I
Lucky
didn't know.
Strikes.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he learned that in Vietnam.
That makes total sense.
He
And,
didn't like the fuse time on the dynamite they were using, so he stuck. It still makes me laugh to this day. He stuck a cigarette on the end of a stick of dynamite, lit the cigarette, and walked away.
Fair enough.
And I'm just like, how is a 10-second timer on dynamite not long enough?
Well, if you're not throwing it,
You know? My family was weird.
hey, that's honestly fucking ingenious, because if you're trying to hold a position and you don't want to throw the dynamite, because that's something that's
Yeah.
pretty visible as it goes sailing through the air,
Yeah.
but rather if you're about to fall back, they're going to chase you,
Mm-hmm.
light the cigarette, and retreat, and by the time the enemy comes up to where you were, now the fuse is lit.
Well, funnier yet, the cigarette smoke is an indicative sign that someone is smoking.
Yep.
So the enemy will go, oh, this person's nearby because they're smoking. And they'll try to weed out where the smoke is, or they'll follow the smoke to the stick of dynamite.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant.
There's another one they did with a balloon, but I don't remember all the details of it. I think it was like they took firecrackers and bottle rockets and shoved it into a balloon and then filled it up with something, maybe oxygen or butane, and then sealed it off, and then attached something flammable to it so that it would melt the balloon, and once it melted through the balloon, it would ignite the gas, and the flash fire of the igniting gas would set off the fireworks. But I don't entirely remember how it was done, because I feel like there's a step missing somewhere.
Probably a pool of kerosene underneath the balloon to
Right.
make sure that there's a hot spot.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't think that even, sure, certain gases, they burn super hot,
Yeah.
but it's all gone in a half a second. Now, I would think that the gas would be put in so that when the balloon melts and allows the gas out, it would then explode to scatter and release the fireworks to fall into the open flame.
Yeah. I used to remember how to do all kinds of shit. Strangely,
That's the magic of Macy's.
Strangely, I still have the memory of how to make touching powder in my head. That's something I shouldn't remember how to do, and to this day, can still make it with near perfection. I forget what it's actually legally called scientifically. But if you make it right, it comes out to be this weird purplish powder that's
I know what you're talking about.
stupidly fucking volatile.
You can accidentally set it off by making it too thick.
Yeah. Yeah, like anything will set the fucking shit off.
Yeah.
And crazier
there's
yet.
If you want to make a batch of touch powder without the effort of actually chemically, synthesizing it, apparently, if you know what you're doing, because it does still take a little bit of know-how, what you can do is get your hands on cap gun strips.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You just skin the surface of the little dots on the paper.
Yeah.
And reduce it. You have to add water because it won't go off as long as it's wet. And then you can reduce it to paste and let it dry.
Oh, weird. Yeah, see, I was taught in high school how to make touch powder you can do the chemical scientific way, but it's actually taught a specific ratio. And I'm not going to say it online because, last thing I need to do is teach random viewer who watches the show how to make an extremely dangerous and extremely volatile explosive. But it was, you take a combination of ammonia, iodine, and bleach in very specific ratios, and you mix them together.
Of course it has to be in very specific. I wish you hadn't said what the ingredient list was.
But
because 2 of those ingredients and you have a very dangerous gas.
Yes, exactly. And that's the catch. Is, 2 of those ingredients you mix together creates a very dangerous gas. Any combination that is incorrect in the mixture, you get a dangerous gas. You get a literally airborne acid. You get it's not something to fucking play with. And my dumbass fucking chem teacher in high school was like, "Here, this is how you do this. Check it out." Like, really? This is what you're going to teach your students? Oh, good.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that I couldn't wrap my mind around the mathematics involved in chemistry and ended up not pursuing it any further, because I was always fascinated by the idea of wet chemistry, but when I took that course in college and we had to deal with the fucking mole unit, I was like, there are other things I could do.
Yep.
That's why I want to become a pyrotechnician.
Right. One of these days I'll have to sit you down with Robin. Robin's got a chem degree from Purdue, and some of the shit she comes up with is just like, Jesus. Those are fun conversations. But anyhow.
Unfortunately, all of my stories of trying to be a scientist ended with a belt to my ass.
Yep.
Of course, most of my scientific experiments involved fire or disassembly.
Yeah.
Not good when a 5-year-old is playing with a lighter.
Yep. Most of my scientific experiments involved, oh, hey, my parents are gone. Let's see what these mix together and do.
Fortunately, I never got as far as mixing stuff. I was more interested in how best to apply a flammable substance to create effects.
I actually
Like
have
when I was supposed to be doing penitent yard work,
Yeah.
I at one point stuck the handle of the shovel into a mound of dirt in 2 places to form a tunnel with a 90-degree angle, and
Yeah.
I would spray it was like WD-40 or brake cleaner, one of those
Yeah.
highly flammable gases down the top hole, and hold a lit lighter near the bottom hole to where by the time the fumes reached the open flame, it would shoot back in and then just rocket up.
Yep.
It was cool.
Oh, yeah.
My ass hurt for a week after that one.
I still, to this day, have a permanent burn in my left arm. I think it's my left arm. Nope, not my left arm. Right arm? Right arm.
Well, clearly the scar doesn't extend to the mental.
No, there's scars all over my body. I had to find the right one.
Yeah, you had to remember, which means there was no mental scarring attached to that scar.
Yeah. So there's a permanent burn in my right arm from when I was about, what was it? Is it 2nd grade? Yeah, it's in 2nd grade. In 2nd grade, I had the brainchild idea of I was going to make a hot air balloon. Okay. So I took a Zippo, tied string around the base of the Zippo, flicked it, right? And then took a plastic bag and held it over the Zippo so that the heat from the Zippo would fill the plastic bag. Seems smart. I got the plastic bag inflated enough to where it actually made the Zippo levitate and was floating in the air. And then I, blew lightly on the plastic bag and it floated along in the air, was floating a little bit until it started to wobble back and forth. At which point the Zippo then caught one of the strings on fire. Which then caught another string on fire, and my brain went, oh shit, stop the Zippo from catching anything else on fire. So I grabbed the hot Zippo, burned my hand, dropped the hot Zippo, which naturally blows out. At which point, I didn't realize that the plastic bag was now going up into the air on fire. At which point, it then proceeded to explode in the air in a pop sound, where I looked up and saw flames of burning plastic scattering across my kitchen, and had pieces of it falling from the air where it landed on my skin and singed my skin. I had like probably like a 3rd-degree burn from that shit because it was hot melted plastic.
Sounds neat.
Yep. It
Although
hurt
you
like a
did just
bitch.
give me an idea. So I was remembering as you were talking about that, that was actually the poor man's version of one of the high school projects that I was a part of, and then forgot the night of the launch because woe is me. So I didn't get to actually watch my labor bear
Yeah.
fruit. But we actually had, I believe it was, I don't remember if it was high school or middle school, but one of our science teachers had where, groups of 2 or 3 would make hot air balloons essentially by
Yeah.
using a soda can, cut the top off, poke holes for air ventilation and better flow, and using like Milner wire create the framework, and we would use like tissue paper, like what you would put in a a gift bag or whatever,
Yeah.
to make the balloon, kind of like Japanese lanterns.
Yeah.
And as I'm talking to you, I like to keep things that most people would call trash, except that, it's something that I haven't seen an equivalent of before. For example, that UCC matcha latte can
Yeah.
that I showed you and had you try.
Yeah.
The shape of this can being more like a bottle, but it's still being the weight and, by feeling it, essential tensile strength of a soda can, but with a bigger mouth. I wouldn't have to cut the top off. I would just have to poke the vent holes.
Yeah.
And I think that this would make a really good burner for a lantern balloon.
Yeah. It's true.
Kind of want to do that now.
Right? I kind of want to make lantern balloons as well, just for the entertainment value.
Well, and I mean, that's why I want to do it. But yeah, no, I think that this would make a by far superior, burner basket.
Yeah.
Of course, another thing that I would do if I was going to create such a thing is swap out the rubbing alcohol fuel source for something more stable, quote unquote stable,
Yeah.
and would also add a little bit of weight so that it can't go as far. Although I don't know, I guess it depends. But the fuel putty stuff, like what you would get for like a buffet kitchen, where
Yeah.
it's like that metal tin that you pop
Yeah,
the
no, I
top
know what you're
off and
talking
light that purple goo on fire.
Yeah. It's a catering
Yeah,
Bunsen burner.
get some of that caterer's putty and stick it down in here and light that.
Yeah, there you go. Although I've learned that you can actually make your own from nothing more than household flour and lighter fluid.
That makes sense.
And if you get the consistency right, you end up with this kind of putty-like material that burns for a long-ass time. Although you gotta be
now
really...
I have another recipe to add to my list of shit that I should never ever attempt, and fortunately I'm just lazy and forgetful enough that I probably won't. But, if I
If
ever
you-
did, I'd probably do something really dumb and dangerous.
Just be very careful with fine granulated powder of any kind, flour especially. If you get it near an open flame, it will literally explode.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Like, most people don't realize it. Like, you throw flour in the air and light a match, you'll fucking combust the entire room. It's the weirdest fucking thing.
But yeah, no, I actually have, albeit not a big list, but I do have a list of concoctions that provide explosive results.
Right.
For example, and one of my favorite ones, and for all the world that YouTube is like, constantly striking people for doing dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that they allow, it's like, really? You're going to let us know about that, but not this other stuff?
Well, because
Like-
it's based on the popularity of the YouTuber.
Yeah, but like, there's this, I think his name's Cody. It's like Cody's Lab.
Yeah.
He got in trouble for doing a video series on making homemade gunpowder.
Yeah.
And the way he was doing it was the old way. Like he
The
had a bed of straw, and he
Yeah.
was applying urine to it and turning it, and it's like that takes over a month.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over on King of Random, science, backyard scientist type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so you just put granulated sugar over medium heat until it melts, and then you add in some potassium chloride, which you can buy as just stump remover.
Yeah.
Add that in, mix it together, and boom, you have homemade rocket fuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, homemade gunpowder takes over a month, or homemade rocket fuel,
Well,
which
'cause-
takes less than an hour.
It's part of that whole anti-gun thing. Oh, gunpowder could be used to make bullets for a gun, but rocket fuel, you couldn't use that to make a gun. It's like, no, you would make a more efficient gun.
Yeah.
Like a faster, more efficient gun that's gonna burn really fucking hot. Yay!
Well, apparently that's on paper correct, but in practice not a reliable thing, because that actually has been invented and shown to be highly ineffective.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as rocket ammo, and it's pretty bad.
I've heard it's pretty crazy. But part of it's also the rifling. If you don't have the right rifling for a higher
No.
velocity round.
No, this was like the person created a gun with the intent of rocket propulsion ammo, where it was like the old Smith & Wesson ammo,
Yeah.
where they hollowed the back of the bullet, put gunpowder in it, and then had it go off that way.
Yeah.
It was like back in the 1830s or 1840s when they were making ammo that way.
Yeah.
But I want to say this was like back in the 1960s or 1970s. This gun designer actually created a gun for these bullets that had hollowed backing and core, to where they were, packed with a rocket fuel, a solid state rocket fuel. And like the initial speed of the bullet by far surpassed that of standard bullets. Like it was insane how much faster. But it dropped off so much faster than a standard bullet that it was not practical in application beyond 20 or 30 feet.
Yeah.
Because once the rocket fuel was gone, it would have that, hollow back that would create a vacuum drag, and it would cause it to lose momentum and tumble and just fall out of the air.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's turning into that pumpkin time. I gotta be up in 4 hours.
Fair enough.
So I will close out with a closing credits. I haven't made one for this yet, so I just used my random stuff.